England's TV. This is the Den Daily, bringing you all the latest gossip, views and transfer news from in and around the Den. It feels a little bit early for a Den Daily, but news has broke yesterday that Crystal Palace are one of a number of clubs interested in signing Romain Esse in January. Alleged to be around £10 million. This report is from the Southwark News. It says the Eagles are reportedly pursuing a buy-to-loan deal that would see Esse remain with the Lions on loan for the rest of the season before joining Crystal Palace in the summer. News that then understands Palace, along with other clubs, have expressed an interest, but the Mill have no desire to sell their prized assets in January. It's almost a meteoric rise to fame from Romain Esse, in my opinion. From the point when I said, I don't think he's at this level, and I don't think he ever will be. Listen, I said what I said. I can't hide from that, and I've got no shame, and I'm actually pleased to say that it looks like I got this one wrong. There was a point a couple of seasons ago, and last season, when he didn't really play. He scored the opening goal, didn't he, of the season away at Middlesbrough. Brilliant goal. Come off the bench that day with Idemo and Maku. And at that point, and points leading up to that, he sort of come on 15 minutes, which wasn't his fault, run down the wing, do a couple of step overs, kick one over the bar, and everyone would go, what a player. At that point, I didn't agree. But he surpassed my expectations and probably a lot of other people's as well, even the ones that did rate him. And this season he's become, a figurehead in the forefront of our first team, scoring goals, creating a lot. But it's not just what he's achieved in terms of going forward. I think he's really learned to play his part in a Millwall type team under Neil Harris. I think as good as his forward thinking is and as creative as he is, I love the way now that his work rate is through the roof, and I think he comes off that pitch every game having been kicked up in the air about 10 times and kicking other opposition players up in the air about 10 times. But it's his defensive duties as well, not just his work rate, and the way, like I said, he knows how to play in the Neil Harris type side. So now he's getting tabled to be worth around £10 million, and I find numbers in football crazy in this day and age. But I'll be honest, I don't think that's probably enough. He's 19 years old, part of the England elite squad. He's got lots of clubs watching him. He really is doing the business for us. I think, again, I'm going to say it, he's not tailed off recently. I think we're putting a lot of hopes on him. But I just feel that he's got to the level that before this season, a lot of you were saying he was at. Maybe he was, and I didn't see it. But he's definitely improved this season, and he's a really young, exciting player, and it's a massive catch-22, isn't it? Keep him out the side a little bit, bring him in when we can. We know he's a prospect. Now he's come in and he's doing the business. He's looking like he could be going to Crystal Palace for around £10 million. There is no smoke without fire, and there was a lot of reports yesterday linking Esse with a move away from the club in January, as that one said there from Southwark News, which was then reposted on News at Den, that he would become a Crystal Palace player in January, and we would keep him till the end of the season, so he could play in our first team. I would imagine there's no point in going to Palace and sitting on their bench now. He might as well stay, get games, get experience, and then join up with him in the summer. It will be a real shame. As I said, I don't think £10 million probably enough. And looking back again, saying that I got it wrong, let's not forget that Romain Esse, who is now at Crystal Palace and an England international, was released from our club by Neil Harris because he didn't think he was a Millwall type player and didn't think he was going to make the grade. So it's massively about opinions in football. Luckily for us, my opinion on this one was wrong, and it looks like Romain Esse really is progressing at a rate of knots. He's a very exciting player, and he's definitely added to his all-round game, in my opinion. But £10 million, look, we got this thing now as well where we held quite strong for the first time in our history on Zian Fleming. As we know, predominantly down the years, we've let people go for silly money, undisclosed fees, etc., like Tim Cahill, but nowhere near the valuation of what we think a player is worth. But we did stand strong with Fleming, and we did stand our ground, and we got, I think that's going to be £8 million for him at the end of the season. Yesterday as well, funny enough, I don't know if it was probably a bit planned, but Steve Gallen, the head of recruitment, did an interview on Millwall TV. I watched a clip of that this morning. I've not watched the whole thing. In the clip I saw, he said, we are looking to bring in one or two in the January transfer window. He said, but not just that. He said, it's a difficult time where teams don't want to let players go because it's mid-season. But when you've got players that are a target of clubs in higher divisions with bigger budgets, they can pay that little bit more and they can get who they want, but we don't want to sell anyone. Later on, I saw a quote on the Mill website from Steve Gallen, which I didn't see in the video, that said, we don't want to sell anybody in January. There's nobody in the football club saying we need to make a sale. We want to keep our good players, but also realise if we're doing well, that there was a lot of interest after the Leeds and Burnley game in our players. And when you do well on the big stage, it puts your players and your team to the next level, and bigger clubs come sniffing. It will be a shame if we lose Esse. I don't want to lose him. And as Gallagher said there, and I just said previously, we stood strong with Fleming, and we stood our ground, and we got a price which we was happy with. At first, of course, they was offering nothing, wasn't they, for Fleming? Then it become a buy to loan, which is what they're looking at now, Crystal Palace with Esse. So, look, I'll be gutted if we lose him, but whether it's Crystal Palace in January or someone later down the line for more money, inevitably, it's the sort of position we are as a club. I think the writing is on the wall. Our financial position definitely has improved, and I always say the club's moving forward with good young players, but football is football, and I think if they knock on the door hard enough and wave the wonga then the way they should, then I think Esse could potentially lead the club. It will be a real shame, and I wish him all the best if it does happen, but just not Palace, eh? Maybe go somewhere else. Aim a little bit higher, because at the minute, they're fucking struggling as well. But that's the news today, or yesterday, but I've only just caught up today. That Crystal Palace are interested, a number of clubs actually interested in signing Romain Esse in January. The Eagles are looking at a buy to loan, which means they'll pay around £10 million for him, but he will remain a Millwall player until the end of the season to get a bit more experience and hopefully guide us towards the playoffs. That's it for the Den Daily. I'll see you at the Den tomorrow. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.